Like what came through is like chop off anything and everything that is just not your highest self. Not like the purity of your own heart. Like how we were talking just before, like I feel like I have been in struggle, but it's now I'm seeing it's been a struggle of my own, my own, like, hey guys, look how hard I'm struggling. Like, I'm doing so great. Like, I'm mastering my struggle. And yeah.
I think it is very human of us to think that we need to struggle. Like, in order for it to count and to be valid and worthwhile, like it needs to be hard and we have to struggle. But I think that's maybe not always true and very human of us, which is okay. Again, we're human because we're here and we're here on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Kind of goes back to what we were saying, like we don't have to go diving into our shadows because life will deliver them to us.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Because then we think we're struggling. I mean, and we are struggling actually when it's like stuck in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And like rolling around and we're like getting into Virgo season, right? So that's like paralysis paralysis.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does feel like a struggle because we're just like, no, this, no, that. What am I doing? I don't know.
Help me.
Overthinking.
Somebody help me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you guys oh, go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say something silly. Did you guys, when you were little, did you ever do the stuck in a suitcase thing with your mouth?
What's that? With her mouth?
Yeah.
Like,
hold on, I'll do it for you. You can cut it out if it's too weird. Hold on.
Can't wait.
How did
that come out so clearly?
Practice.
Practice.
You're really good at it.
Wow.
My daughter and I used to like do these to each other.
That's amazing.
I've never even heard of this.
You haven't?
I have not practiced.
Maybe it was just my daughter's era. I don't know.
Maybe, but maybe I'll steal that. That sounds fun.
Sometimes I'll do that if my mind is overloaded. Like just to crack myself up, just to be like, that's what I'm doing.
I love that.
In a suitcase.
A little goofiness to just kind of like break up the seriousness. That's good. Yeah. I love that.
I think seriousness is like literally the nature of 95% of my struggle. Is like just taking it so seriously. Like I need it to be good so badly. And do you though? Like, I mean, maybe sometimes it's more important, but is there really serious things going on here? Or is that a struggle of my own making? Like, the moment of levity, like the moment of just smile and laugh and let a little air out of the balloon and
be light.
in a moment of struggle it feels like I don't even know, like you're abandoning yourself almost, like what does the struggle mean to you? Because if the struggle is your identity and then you're trying to say like, oh, don't worry about it, it's not serious, like you don't need to struggle with that, but that's who I am. Like, yeah, I mean, it's taken me such a long time to get to a place where ease is like worthy. Like you're still worthy, even if you show up naked, even if you have nothing but your own heart, and that's it to contribute. I'm alive and I'm breathing. That's my contribution. Is that enough? I don't know. My opinion on this seems to fluctuate, judging by the anxiety that I give myself. But it's a work in progress.
Totally.
I instead of I pulled both cards and crystals. They're crystal cards before we started here. And actually what you're saying, Carly, really reminds me of what I pulled for you. I pulled one for each of us. So I can just go through that super quick if you're interested.
Please.
So Carly, I'm gonna start with you because I feel like this is on brand. This is good. So I pulled amber here. I actually have the matching crystals because I happen to have the ones that I drew. So I pulled this card, amber, which it asks, what are you becoming? And here's my little piece of amber, it's so light. That's what's so cool about amber. I think it's like you're holding nothing. Super lightweight. And so this says page 31. Play the Jeopardy music. Okay, Amber asks, what are you becoming? It doesn't matter who you were before, Amber assures you. What matters is who you are becoming. Amber is sure of this because she began as thick, gooey pine resin, sticking to fingers and scenting the forest. Pine resin is antimicrobial, and amber carries this protection as well, guarding you on the spirit planes as you make your way into your next phase of being. Amber, who sometimes holds a leaf or an insect, asks, what will you carry with you as you shift yourself? What will become encased in your essence? This is the place where choice and the dance of destiny meet. When amber enters your life, pause. Listen to both your heart and your head as you design your own becoming.
Dude.
It was pretty perfect, huh?
I love that. What will be encased in your essence as you move forward? Oh, what indeed.
That's exactly what you said about letting things go. Let go and give it to God, basically, and your guides, whoever. Let go of what you don't need to carry. Yeah. I think that's beautiful.
It's as light as we let it be.
And like I said about amber, seriously, it's like nothing. It's like so lightweight, but it's so beautiful and so clear and pure.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
And then for Jodi, I got carnelian. Get curious, it says. Carnelian's awesome because I live in Oregon and we have a lot of that naturally occurring here. The little orangey colored agates you find on the beach that are always so fun to find. Here's a little piece of carnelian. Showed the fiery orangey reds. So beautiful. I love carnelian. And this says page 67. Oh, and this is the illustrated crystallary is what this is called. It's really beautiful. Yeah, I haven't explored this book too much, and so I was really excited to do that this morning. Okay, so carnelian, get curious. Carnelian has traveled trade routes, been privy to love letters, and learned ancient secrets scribed on scrolls and stored in cathedrals of learning, like the Great Library of Alexandria and the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. Get out and see the world, Carnelian encourages, lending you strength and fortitude for the travels ahead. Carnelian will hop a ride with any passing caravan, following the wanderings of merchants and messengers to their next destination. This ancient talisman's curiosity doesn't stop with earthly journeys. Carnelian amulets escorted the dead, providing safe passage into whatever lies beyond the setting sun. Life's an adventure if you allow it to be, Carnelian reminds you. Get curious. Beautiful. I especially love strength and fortitude for the travels ahead. That's beautiful. We're getting ready, getting strong, getting prepared for what's coming next, which feels big. Feels huge.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I did draw one for myself. So I drew green fluorite for me, and green fluorite asks, is this mine? Which is hilarious. We've been talking a lot about this in this little circle of the three of us, about being an empath and trying to figure out what's mine and what's not mine. So here's some green fluorite. Very pretty.
So pretty.
I love fluorite. Really pretty. So this is on page 147. Okay. When emotions wash over you, green fluorite wants you to ask, is this mine? When you feel ill or in pain, green fluorite gives the same directive. Get still and ask yourself, is this mine? All of us take on energy from the world around us. That's a price of being a part of this glorious web of life. Our invisible tendrils are always reaching out, tasting and sampling. The boundaries of self can get amorphous and blurry as we take in nutrients, emotions, toxins, pathogens, sunlight, all sorts of things from beyond ourselves. Green fluorite reminds you to sort through the stuff that's incoming, see what serves your highest good, and let the rest go.
Mm.
So I think that was a nice way to sort of set the scene this morning, sitting with my crystals.
Oh, and you got to explore your book.
Yes, which I loved. So thank you for letting me read those little passages out of there.
Thank you.
I feel like those fit together so perfectly, like for each of us individually, yes, but also like as three reminders for like the Aquarius full moon
Yeah.
that's coming on August 11th here in just a few days, or I guess today if you're watching the recording. And like, what were they? What am I becoming? What will be encased in my essence going forward? Like, as I let go of everything that isn't me to lighten to who I'm becoming.
Yes.
Get curious.
Get curious and to work on your focus on getting strong and getting resilient because something big is coming.
The journey ahead.
Yeah.
The big journey ahead.
Yes.
And how powerful curiosity is as like a balm to soothe fear around the unknown, to like stay open and curious about what's going on and what it means and what are my options and which one do I like and what's, like curious, open, not I know this is going to happen and it's different and it's going to be awful and that's why I'm scared. Like loosen a little bit. And then, is this mine? Like the whole point of Aquarius is like deconditioning ourselves from all the shit that you picked up from the day you got here. So yeah, like bing bang boom for that. So perfect.
Yeah.
And for each of us individually, for like speaking to, yeah. Very good. Very divinely guided, it feels like.
I agree.
Mm.
You.
The only thing that's in my brain is curiosity feels like one of Jodi's superpowers.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
that's true.
Lead with your curiosity often, and I love it. I love getting to be around it personally. Somebody who doesn't like to be asked questions probably wouldn't like it so much, but I am on the opposite end of that spectrum. I love being asked questions. Yeah, you already feel so close to yours. It makes me wonder, like, is that a secret message for like maybe how close Maddie and I are to ours?
To your what?
Like to me being light. Like maybe like as I felt like I unburdened myself this morning and like for the time I feel light, maybe like it's more than that. Maybe this is more like the level I'm moving into. And same for Maddie, like maybe you are closer than you've realized with like understanding what's mine and what's not mine. And like each of us kind of individually, like having that reflection of like, maybe this is part of your superpower. Because I know curiosity is definitely part of Jodi's superpowers. So is being light part of mine? Is knowing what's mine and what's not part of Maddie's? I don't know. I'm just like throwing it out there as like curiosity. Just
definitely. I think mine is like a potential, like that's often our superpowers are things that we've struggled with or felt like maybe are even our weak spots. And then you kind of, as you dive into that energy inside of yourself more, like I don't think this was before the recording, but we were talking about like overthinking and how Virgo season's coming up and everything. And I think for me, like knowing what's mine and what's not, I think I do know. Like, I think I know, but I'm overthinking it and I'm questioning and doubting myself. So really, that's the piece that just needs to be removed. I need to just work through that, remove that self-doubt. And then I see what you're saying. Like, I think maybe that is one of my superpowers, is knowing, is this mine or is it not? But I gotta stop questioning myself because I know. I think I know. Yeah.
I feel like I could use your story that you just said and like apply it to my thing of like, I know how to lighten my load. And
Yeah.
yet I continuously like pick shit back up. Like, okay, no, now I'll carry this. Okay, now I let it go. Oh, good job. Let it go. Be light. And then, oh, I'm going to pick this up. And it's like, yeah, like maybe that's part of what I'm waking up to is I have gotten good at like letting go and transmuting what I pick up and like lightening my load, but I do like pick up a lot still that like, do you really need to pick all that up? Or like, is there like a more just like a staying light, like more like Teflon, like let it just like the breeze like move through you instead of ever having to like cling on to it so that then you do have to like let it go so you can lighten back up. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so curious. Well, first to Maddie, I know you know. Like I can tell you know. Like it's so obvious you know. And there's like, yeah, who knows what like what it will take for you to just state it, you know. I know the difference. I don't even have to tell anybody. I just know. I just know the difference in every situation. I know what's right and what's wrong for me. I know which is mine and which isn't for me.
Definitely.
And then Carly, I'm wondering with you, like, is it like a feeling of productivity? Does that give you structure? Do you like the feeling of structure?
I think so. Pretty sure. I was actually journaling yesterday about how like one of the questions I want to ask to my group next time is what makes you unique? And so I was spending some time with myself and thinking about like what makes me unique. And I do think that I have like such a strong mixture of structure plus flow. And if anything, I tend to lean towards the structure side to my own detriment. And I have to practice like pulling myself back towards the flow. But even when I'm really in my flow, it's like it truly is that like the structure is just kind of who I am. Like I don't know how to shake that perspective so much. And to take something like maybe it's the Taurus rising, I don't know, but like everything that I encounter, it's like, okay, great. Now, what valuable thing are you going to turn that into? And it is a constant push of like alchemy. Like, okay, what you soaked up, turn it into something valuable and then put it back out into the world so somebody else can find value in it. And it's a constant like machine inside of me that doesn't let me rest. I have to let myself rest. And so it's like almost like the key that turns the machine on, like I gave that back to source, or I'm trying to. Like when the machine needs to turn on and there's something that like here, point that at something specific, like great, let's do that. But otherwise, like the flow is totally sufficient. And I can definitely get like, yeah, like I just start defining structure everywhere. And then it burdens me down to where it's heavy, and then I have to let go of the structure, and then I feel light again, but then I just build more structure, and it's a cycle. Yeah, I think that's a good observation though about structure.
It sounds like I mean, that sounds like what teachers are. When teachers do filter through and like make a structure out of it and then share it. And then, I mean, that just feels very much like what teachers do. They make their plans of whatever sort and share it and then go to the next one.
Yeah, because it does feel like that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Like that's just the process of like, you know, like how we talk about like our authentic selves and like who were you born to be, what were you born to do? Like this synthesis of information into value, it just happens. It just is born through my energy. And that's again where I've been thinking a lot though about what is my contribution? Like, is it those things, those valuable things that I put out into the world? Or is it how I receive and synthesize inside of myself? Or is it just my heartbeat? Like, is it just me having a frequency and being present on this planet? And yeah, that's where I got to this morning was like those earlier options, they're just too heavy. They're just too heavy to hold. And it's like, I think my purpose is my heartbeat, like just to be here and to hold whatever frequency I can as it goes up and down and just be present. And that's good enough. And that, yeah, I mean, sometimes like that machine acts like it's not that I'm not good enough yet, but like there's this constant sense of there's so much work to do. Not in a bad way, like I want to do the work, but also like that cycle doesn't let me sleep, doesn't let me rest. And so trying to balance like when is it time to do that? When is it time to be in flow? Because yeah, I going back to what Maddie said, like our greatest superpowers are often our biggest challenges, and that at some point we change between. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but like on my perspective, like we change between like a suffering, like wounded victim into like the wounded healer. Like I'm not all the way better, but I know how to help it a little bit and let me help somebody else maybe help theirs a little bit. And then you can help somebody else help theirs for a little bit. Like it's, you have enough sense of like, I want this to be more than just heavy. I want it to do good in the world, you know? So yeah, this is all a lot. And I feel very unfocused in this region. So thank you for witnessing this as it very organically falls out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're organic beings.
Right, you are.
It sounds a lot to me like living from the heart, where I think, I mean, just being human, I think we tend to live from our heads, and we tend to think that that's like the right way to do things, that we need to think everything through and have a plan and, you know, be organized like that, I guess. And yeah, make decisions from our logical thinking mind. But when we let go of that a little bit, I think it feels pretty uncomfortable, because we might feel a little scattered, or like it's hard to get our thoughts out in a way that makes sense. But I don't know, it just feels like it's like heart-based living, when it's just whatever comes out is organic. And maybe it won't come out in the most perfectly arranged, like mental energy kind of perfection, but it's going to be real and it's going to be true. Can count on that. I think we need more of that in the world. Like I can deal with, you know, whatever the mental energy lacking, like the grammar issues, the whatever it is, like that stuff aside, like just the truth that comes through. I think when we let go of some of that mental energy, well, that can be so hard. It's really like we're all human, you know. That's what we're doing here on Earth. So we gotta be understanding of ourselves for that.
Totally.
That's what I think.
Yeah. It just seems like, and when we're helping somebody else too, they're in the, I mean, everybody's in the mess. Everyone's in the soup. So what we can help with is good. And what we learn will help the next person with, and the next person with, and then on it goes, you know? Like as we learn more, then we can help in whatever ways feel good to us.
Yeah.
Seems like all lessons learned are like valuable to the people who are just learning those lessons or are going on. And so like I just read something I think it was maybe in the Gene Keys that said if you're not continually transmuting, you're dead.
That it's true. It's like constant evolving. Yeah.
And with that, like, it's exactly the thing of like, it's impossible to have a plan and be constantly evolving all at the same time, because the you that you're becoming, like, you're not that you when you're making the plan, right? So like, it is truly like forever and ever and ever and ever, like venturing further and deeper into the unknown. And yeah, I wonder like how do you guys cope with the unknown? Like, what does that feel like for you to like let go of all plans and trust, I guess? Is that the word? I don't
I love
get
that.
it.
I love it. I love it. This is true. Trust? I don't get this
Question
concept.
mark?
I don't understand the concept. I try.
Faith? Is
I
this where
don't.
faith works? I don't know.
I go in and out. I go in and out. I don't. Sometimes the chaos and the darkness in the cave feels good. And then if I'm there too long, it feels like madness. And then when I get a lot of structure and I'm like overly related to the structure and the process, that feels like too much speed and like I need to slow down. If I I go both ways. Tired and then feeling crazy. Tired and then feeling crazy. And that's, a lot of happy mediums in the way.
That's such a good question. It's really prevalent. This situation is really prevalent in my life right now, just dealing with a lot of unknowns. And I was experiencing like seriously the most severe anxiety I've ever felt in my life. It was so visceral. And I had to learn in those moments, like, what can I do right now to make this feel better? Because I don't have answers. Like, that's the thing, is that with uncertainty, answers sound wonderful. That sounds really soothing right now, but I don't have any. And so there were certain things I was doing, like, honestly, deep breathing and just like really bringing it back to the breath was like step one that has to happen first. And just being present in my moment, in the moment, in my body and breathing. That was a good place to start. And then I really found myself, I kept saying to myself, I am the eye of the storm. I am the eye of the storm. And just imagining all this chaos and this craziness going on around me. And then there's this stillness in the center. And I just was visually in my mind's eye bringing myself back to that center. And I could feel my body calming down. Like my nervous system was starting to calm down. And I was telling myself, I am the eye of the storm. I am safe. I think that's a really big piece of uncertainty. It's feeling unsafe. And so it's sometimes like in that moment for me, when the anxiety was so severe, it was really helpful to just remind myself that I am safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt better just to hear that in the moment. And yeah, it definitely didn't make the anxiety go away, and it didn't make the uncertainty go away, but it just really helped me to ride the wave and be present in the moment when this was happening. Because I think that like, it's a lot to ask our human selves to not be afraid of uncertainty. And it's okay that we crave answers and that feels good, that feels safe. So I think it's really a matter of learning like how to cope in those moments when you don't have the answers. It's like, and that's something I'm really learning how to do. And I've learned now, like, I think maybe when I'm in a similar situation in the future, I think I'll know to do these sorts of practices kind of like before it gets so bad. Because I really let the anxiety get really bad because I just didn't know what to do. I felt like I needed to figure everything out in order to make it go away. And I was like, okay, that's not an option here. It's not happening. And that's, yeah, uncertainty is natural. It's just so scary.
Yeah.
I have like a practical example of this morning, even where my intuition and like what felt light and in the flow and ease and all of that, like it was guiding me this way towards basically my group coaching program. Like there's an agenda, there's a schedule of like what's going to be at each event or whatever, and my intuition is like, scrap the agenda, at least push it back to next time, and like put this there instead. And I was like, but the plan and the agenda, and they don't know that that's coming. And it's like, okay, pause for a second. This is my higher self. Are they going to be worried about it, or are you the one that's worried about it? Like, don't go blaming other people that other people are going to have a hard time with this change. Like, are you going to have a hard time with the change? And when I dug into it, it was like, I don't know what that's going to be. I can't picture like what it's going to like. And then I'm like, okay, so then are you going to follow like what feels like the path of lightness and ease? And this is where I'm being guided, or are you going to stick to the plan? And like, this is the structure that I've already carved out. This is what I was anticipating. Which one? And it's like a very real choice that I got to think, like a lot of us, like anytime you get an intuitive download, you were probably on your way somewhere. And then it's like, okay, so are you going to keep going, or are you going to follow the download? And I mean, I practiced following those downloads, but this one felt really scary of like, wow, it's bringing up a lot. Is why, because again, it's like, I want so badly to do a good job with those sessions. And it's like, if I just follow my flow and like kind of leave it open ended, what if it's not good? What if it's bad? And my whole self just like at the what if it's bad? What if it's not good? What if you fall on your face? What if you like blank out in the middle of it? Or like all the things that are my version of like, how could I make it be bad? Um, these are those little voices of like, I don't know who they are in there, but like old programming of like, everybody's gonna laugh at you. It's like the Adam Sandler thing from like way back in the day, like, don't go there, everybody's gonna laugh at you. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of tell myself that sometimes, like, if you leave it open-ended, you're gonna fall flat on your face. And I'm like, or it could be magical, like it could be exactly what the group needs, like energetically answering their prayers. And like, here it is, this is all you got to do. And yet I'm over here trying to figure out which way should I go. And I'm like, I have my human logic, or I have access to infinite intelligence, and I'm over here trying to figure out which one I should listen to. Why? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Making life harder than it needs to be. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, like, I think what I'm doing, obviously leaning in the direction of the flow and the intuitive download, and like, let's go this way, guys. All right, everybody come with me. Let's go over here. And it's like, do I trust myself to just lead all of these people with nothing but my intuition? And I don't know what's going to happen when we get over there, but you should come with me and let's all go. Scary.
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 It reminds me of Gemini. Because Gemini wants fresh. And Gemini's like, come on, let's go this way, let's go this way. You know, Gemini's like, come on, let's go with the now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's old. That was when I planned it. That energy was that, but now the energy is this.
Yeah.
And it's fresh, you know?
Totally.
Fresh
Totally.
air.
The plan feels stale and cumbersome. It doesn't feel right. It like isn't lining itself up. And everything I know about like working with energy, it's like, if it won't line itself up, it is not meant to be. That's not the right thing. Let it go. Like, forget your plan, and you're gonna have to change it up. And I mean, I'm so blessed that like this group of people is like the most adaptable group of people you've ever met on the face of the planet. So they're going to be fine. I have no doubt about it. But me, on the other hand, like, it's like, how rough a ride do you want it to be? Well, apparently I need to like really get to the bottom of if I should follow my intuition or not. I'm like still working that out. And I think it is like a self-trust thing. I'm like, you're asking me to do something that I don't even know if I can do that. And then you want me to try for the first time in front of these people who I'm trying to do good for? You want me to do what? Yeah, that's exactly what they want me to do. All right. I guess we'll all get to fall off the cliff together and see if we're going to fly or not. Are you ready?
I mean, adaptability, it seems like the fact that they're all high adaptable,
most of them.
It seems most of them. It seems like that's a great place to experiment. You know, because adaptability, the adaptables like the experimentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The group is safe. Like, they don't make me feel unsafe.
Yeah.
It truly is like, am I a safe place for myself? If I took them all out to this leading edge where I feel like I want to go with them and I fall flat on my face, am I going to reject me? Mm-hmm. Because I think my hesitation is that maybe I might kick myself out of the house and just sleep outside. Like, you did bad. Like, I think there's still a part of that in there that's like ready and right there on go to like judge myself if I fuck this up. And that's why like the risk feels scary. It's me not being like a safe place for myself. Not completely, much safer for myself than I used to be, but yeah. Self-trust feels.
And what about risk mitigation for ourselves? Because, you know, like risk mitigation is important. Like if I'm doing something that's risky, like what can I do to pad it a tiny bit? You know?
You know what? I was having a conversation with my boyfriend this morning, and we were talking about how a certain family member of his is quite the hypochondriac. But which a lot of people struggle with that, and I totally understand. But like we were talking about how, you know, when you are worrying about something so much, you're kind of like making it happen. You're like making it manifest. And I read this quote before that really stuck with me, that worrying is like praying for what you don't want. Yeah. So I can't really, like, my train of thought is not very long today, so I'm kind of losing that. But yeah, like sometimes when we spend so much time thinking about the thing that we don't want to happen, we're like energetically making it happen. Yeah. Basically, I can't remember what the point of that was, so hopefully that makes sense.
Well, I think, I mean, I've had enough vulnerability hangovers to know that like following my intuition out onto my own leading edge, like I know it's scary still. And most times when I do it, like to your point about risk mitigation, like part of that is just kind of like embracing the fact that I'm gonna have a vulnerability hangover. Probably. I'm gonna second guess. I'm gonna wonder, like, was that right? Like, could that have been better? I mean, that's kind of my internal question anyway. So just kind of prepare myself for like the debrief afterwards of like, okay, so how did that feel? Is there anything you would want to try differently next time? You know, nothing's written in stone, and just kind of be ready for the second guessing, because to think that, I mean, right now it's clear that I have like split energy in like follow my intuition or like stick with the plan. And I know what I'm going to do, but there's enough like pull this way that like probably within the session itself, there's going to be enough to like get me to second guess, because that's already in there, right? Like it's part of the lead up. So it's probably going to be part of the after effect. And that's okay, to the point where vulnerability hangovers, they feel about the same, but they get easier and easier and easier and easier to, like you said, Maddie, like ride the wave of it. Like just know that this is what happens when I grow past where I was before. And to trust myself to the level of like, it's not just me going out to there to the leading edge or wherever we're going. It's me taking like all these people yeah, there's a first for everything. This hasn't happened before. I usually don't take other people with me while I'm testing out, like, is this really a good way to go? I'm almost always only exposing myself to that. So to like take other people with me is a new level of self-trust for me. Absolutely. So I think the vulnerability hangover is probably
That's good to
par for the
carve out
course.
space for it, to carve out
Yeah.
space for it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Human design is popping into my head too. Like, okay, so manifesting generators, I don't know if this is based on your type, and then manifestors. Like my daughter's a manifester, and I had done a human design like session like probably 2 years ago with an Australian woman. I can't remember her name now. Um, but we spent a lot of time on Bryn too, looking at her chart. And just being a manifester in general is very, you know what you're gonna do. You know what you need to do. You just like know you get the information and you go. And she was saying the biggest part for me, for myself too, my type manifesting generator, was the communication piece. So like I I've been going along for years with intuitive, my subjective self, and not really seeing myself the way others do. And I know that that's flip-flopped for a lot of people. They see themselves more objectively, like from the eyes of other people. Mine's been subjective, and I think Bryn too. And the biggest piece I got out of that session was like for manifestors, all they have to say is I'm going to do blah blah blah. All they have to do is communicate it's going to be this, and then everyone comes on board. But if they don't say, like, even, I mean, to the highest degree, I end up telling Bryn, like, when you're going to do like very specific things, like literally I'm on board as long as you just say blah. This is what's going on tonight at there. And even at work, all she has to say truly is, I'm not coming in today, or I'll be an hour late, and just leave it at that. And manifestors, that's all they have to do. We're changing. We're going to be doing X, and then all the other pieces move around. And with me, I had to learn to speak, speak my thoughts. As a manifesting generator, I don't have it as quick as a manifester, but I'd be like, oh yes, I'm going to go to the gas station now. I'm going to do, like instead of just being like, see you later, or whatever, or at work, the goal hasn't changed, but the way I want to do it has changed. And that's all I have to do. Does that make any sense?
I think like on the manifestor side of like, yeah, I mean, the creative urge comes and like basically as I understand it and as I'm seeing it in my own experience, like you can have whatever you want. Like you just point at it and it's yours. And that sounds amazing, right? Like who wouldn't want to just like, oh, there it is. Like I don't know what is under here. Like what is the difficulty other than maybe to use a human design word like my conditioning of how it's supposed to work. Like what it's supposed to look like. That's the only thing I can really think of as far as like what is standing in the way of me just giving myself what I want. Like I think there's again like a self-worth piece to it of like holding your own power, because manifestors like that's why they used to rule the world, is because they can have whatever they want. They just point at it like there's a country I want, here I'll have it, and like okay great, my army went and got it for me and now I have an empire or whatever. And I don't like that. Like I don't like the history of manifestors and the way we've used our power in the past for our own personal gain, like to have an advantage here in the Earth School kind of thing. And I don't know. I wonder if part of it is that. Like I've said before, I don't know how many times around the channel or to you guys, but like I feel like in a past life, I really, really, really abused my power. And that's why, like, to some extent, I kind of hid it from myself this time. I really buried it in there so that you would have to get past like layers of guilt and shame and regret and remorse and just terrible toxic shit on top of it, because I think that's how I felt about what I did last time. And it wasn't good. It was very not good. And so this time, like the question, what would you want to try differently next time? Like, I want my power to be for good. And in that sense, like, democracy makes sense to me, like, as a core value. So, like, the group, for example, it's like, okay, so am I really going to say, all right, come on, guys, here we go. Let's go over here. Like, that feels like the old manifestor way of like, FYI, come on. Like, I just changed your reality. Now let's go. Like, where's the vote? Where's their power in all of that? You know, like, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I think that's getting to some part of like, I didn't have that yet. So that is helpful.
Yeah. Jodi, I really like the piece you mentioned about, because I'm a manifesting generator like you. So it's like, you know, not the manifesting piece of things happening immediately or anything like that, but it reminded me what you said, like the power of voicing what you want. And it reminds me of the Four Agreements. If you've ever read the Four Agreements, it's such a quick read and it's so good. But Don Miguel Ruiz, one of his Four Agreements is be impeccable with your word. And this is like, he's basically just trying to really emphasize like the words you say have so much meaning and so much power, every single one of us, manifestor or not. And that, yeah, like be impeccable with your word. Don't say a single thing that you don't mean. Be really clear when you need to communicate something. Like that's one of his Four Agreements for, I don't remember what exactly they're for, but just for like being a human on this earth, you know, and like being responsible with wielding your source energy that we all have. And it reminded me, yeah, I think, was this yesterday? I like accidentally instantly manifested something. It was really kind of a funny thing, but I was in the car, just like we were driving by this place, and it reminded me of somebody. I pointed at it and I was like, oh, this person who, have they reached out to you in a while? They used to go here, and that made me think of them. And I was like, oh, how funny that you haven't heard back from them or whatever it is. And then literally within like 30 minutes, phone rings and it's that person. And I was like, well, I pinged their line for sure. Like, I don't totally believe in like energetic cords and stuff. And we can do that. Like, you mentioned somebody, you just like energetically pinged their line and now they're thinking about you. And then he called. And it's like, I said that out loud. And I realized I was like, oh, I think I need to be more careful about the things that I say out loud because they actually create waves, like energetic ripples in the field. And if I had kept it in my head, it probably, even our thoughts have energetic impact. But when you say it out loud, like you just put it out there into the universe and you created something. So it was a good reminder for me that like words have power, and it's not like it was anything bad that happened. It just was a nice reminder that that definitely was not a coincidence that that happened. I don't believe in that anyway. So it's just a really good reminder that whether you are a manifestor or not, like your words have so much power. And to Carly's point of like that power has been so misused in so many systems over time. Like I'm specifically thinking of like religion and stuff and the way they've really twisted the words, of manipulated what the teachings are and the words that are spoken, because that has so much power. So yeah, our words have power.
They do. They do. And I think it's a very noble, is it the noble path, the four agreements? Or maybe that's yoga. It's a noble, it's noble for us to be concerned about how we're using our power. It's funny, we can go so long and not feel our power, and then we feel it, and then we're like, oh shit, how do I use it?
Yeah.
You know?
For real. I mean, I felt or spent so long feeling, I mean, basically like a victim. Like nobody understood me, nobody valued me, nobody blah, 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 blah. Like nobody would give me the scraps that I thought I was owed. And I wasn't giving myself those, wasn't taking them. Was kind of just leaving them on the table. But yeah, like we spend so long like just wishing for power. And I feel like when you get it, you're bound to hurt somebody with it. And that's probably how you'll learn to don't use it like that. Because yeah. Well, it's like the words. Like, I mean, I think that's part of why I think in the past I really abused my power. Like in my earlier manifestations of my energy, I also have this aspect in my natal chart where it's Mars square Mercury, and they say that like you can like your words are weapons, basically, that you can like weaponize your words and like a sharp tongue, like you could cut the neck of somebody else in like an instant. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that, and I have done it. And again, it's like I don't even think I want my power if I'm going to use it to hurt other people. I would rather be powerless than be powerful and harming others, truly. And I think that comes from a lifetime before of like truly just harvesting power out of other people. Like it's not hard to do. Most people will give you their power if you even come close to them. And I took it and I kept it all. And not this time. Mine will be plenty. Mine is hard enough to carry, let alone anybody else's. So they can just keep theirs. Yeah. But so yeah, like that's kind of where I'm at on the whole manifestor thing in general is like, well, it kind of brings in that piece too of like, I respect your sovereignty. I respect like each individual's autonomy and sovereignty to like decide for themselves what they want. And so that's part of where like stepping into being a coach or a teacher, it feels like it's pulling up this dynamic where I'm getting very clear on like using my power to its fullest while also not sending it into anybody else's experience. And when you're teaching someone, that's exactly what you're doing. You're getting in their experience. And so then I'm like, I don't know, trying to develop conscientiousness basically about how to be in somebody else's experience. And again, use my power and my presence inside their experience for good, to like transplant power into their grid instead of like, like don't touch anything. Just like be in here. I don't know. It's like scary. Like, yeah. Somebody commented the other day and said something about like replying to something that I had said about not wanting to hurt other people, and said that it was like a lost perspective, like that's like kind of losing track of your own inner compass. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so, because I'm telling you, I feel like I got PTSD over overpowering people in past lifetimes, like causing significant harm. So I appreciate that this person is telling me like, don't be guilty or like, don't feel like that, whatever. But I'm like, no, I think this is karma that I'm meant to carry. I'm meant to have this as a reminder of what's possible when you don't safeguard your power or you let other people give you theirs. Like nothing good comes from the end of that. So maybe it's okay that I'm a little bit conscientious, a little bit worried about the potential harm of overpowering other people. I think I did that before.
Yeah. Makes so much sense. And who knows who we've all been in past lives, in future lives, and parallel lives right now. I mean, we're getting that information. It's good to get, it's good to get information about balance of power in the now or in the past. It really is. I think it's an important contemplation piece. I feel it is. Not to let it freeze us into not wanting to make a move in any direction, but at least, considering it, I think is really important.
Yeah. Well, because like you said, like manifestors know what they're going to do. So, I mean, I know my creative urge is going over here. I mean, this is what we're going to have to do. I'm just like working myself up to it. But also, this contemplation is like guiding me in how I introduce this. How do I transition off of what we agreed was going to happen into this next thing? Yeah, to like still grant people their own autonomy in that process and not just be like, well, you fools signed up for it, so get over here because this is what we're doing. Like, no, oh my gosh. Obviously, I wouldn't do that, and probably most people wouldn't, but it's like, again, I think it takes a lot of energy to do what I'm talking about, where like as a manifester, I slow down enough to consider the experience of moving the group from point A to point B. Because me, I mean, I just run right out whatever I want. We're there, we're having it, it's great, it's magical. And a lot of times, like I have just like yanked people over there and not thought about the whiplash of how fast the change unfolds, like giving people the time and the space to process what's going on and to be a gentle informer, because that's what they say for manifestors. Like, you just need to inform, just tell people what's going on and like they'll get on board, it's all good. Like, again, like that is so much power that
it scares you.
Yeah, it does, honestly, which I think is maybe good. Like, I think if I wasn't scared, if I was just like, fuck yeah, let's go for a joyride, like that's maybe a little alarming. But I think that's probably what I did in the past life, was like found my power. And yeah, I mean, you can't take that stuff back when yeah.
To me, it's just like this is always my subject, but another reason to just, I mean, one, respect everybody's sovereignty and then also give each other a lot of grace, is that like every soul's journey is so unique and we've all been so many different places that like we don't even fully know the extent of it for ourselves, that we obviously can't know what another person is carrying, like the extent of what another person is carrying and what drives them to do certain things. And that's also why there's no like one size fits all, like this is the right way to be. It's because our souls have just been on unique journeys that are individual to us, and we just, yeah, it's just another reason to give each other grace. I feel like believing in reincarnation really opens, it's like a really nice way to open you up to just like being forgiving with other people. Is like, yeah, maybe you're like a total asshole in this life or something like that. Like maybe that soul needs that experience. Maybe they were a total pushover last time and now maybe they're overcompensating a little bit, but maybe the next life they're going to strike the perfect balance. And like that's just where they're at, and that's okay. It's okay to be at that place. Like we're living what we need to be living right now. And it's not always going to be like the most perfect balanced, like we got everything figured out. And like probably that's unlikely. I don't know if we ever even want to reach that point of perfection. But yeah, we're all just on our path, and yeah, just gotta respect each other for that.
Well, and like, to be fair to the person who told me like I should feel better, is like, I think I've done that to people before. I think I've been like, oh, you should like be easier on yourself and like be more understanding, like it's okay, you're learning, and like trying to like take away like how they feel, and it's like, who knows if that fear of their own power, like if that's not the most productive thing for them. Like I feel like my power is like a fully loaded, like fully automatic, like so many rounds, infinite rounds, that like I feel like last time I was like, oh, cool. And I picked it up and it was like, and it just like killed everybody is how it feels. And this time I think I'm like in search of my 30,000th like instruction manual of like how to use this properly. And I've never like barely touched it, barely even gone within 5 feet of it because respect it. Like, don't just go thinking like, oh, cool, this is great. I'm going to be powerful now. Like, I think that's to your point about balancing, like back and forth. Like, I'm guessing that I did have a really hard life. And so I came back that next time and was like, I'm going to put my power like front and center and like go to like grab my power. And this time I was like, put it in the darkest part of the furthest basement you can find. And yeah, wrap it in Pisces energy and then put it in the basement. And we'll see if maybe you can get that out here in 30 or 40 years. Okay. We'll see. When time out. Put myself there.
I see this like gem, like this gem like sparkling in the Pisces water in the basement, like, hello.
Yeah. And I see
You're not gonna get rid of me.
Yeah. I'm like, I know you're in there. And I could go get you. Like to the point about like manifestor stuff. Like, dude, like when you really like try to walk into that space of like what they say about manifestors, like again, it's just like I don't know how to hold that power. Like I'm not ready for that. So I don't know. I don't know. But again, it's like maybe that's exactly the pace at which it's meant to unfold. Like this is clearly like my questioning is clearly for my own highest good and maybe the highest good of others in the process too, you know.
I think so too. I was just thinking about the Lord of the Rings and the ring. You know, how the ring.
I've never watched it.
You never watched the Lord of the Rings? Well, it's like the power of the ring. So the ring is being passed along to each person. And then Gollum, I'm sure you've seen like gifs of him at least.
Of it, yeah.
Like he he got the ring and it overtook him. And then he was just like he became Gollum with the ring. And then the other hobbits, the one I think it was Frodo, who was given the power of the ring to travel across. And so he gets taken over by the power at different times too, but then he's overseen by higher powers or, you know, his cohorts along the way, and magic, and Gandalf, who's the wizard. You know, it's a whole story about power. Yeah.
Not know that. I was like, I don't like hobbits. That was like all I ever knew about Lord of the Rings. I'm like, I don't know about this. But maybe that's because I wasn't supposed to watch it yet. You know?
Yeah, it's deep. If you don't like hobbits, you won't like it because it's full of hobbits.
Well, but like I can appreciate the story for sure. And I love that how that's like watched over. Like kind of where I started, like talking about the exercise I heard somebody talking about this morning, where she starts every day like writing to God, what would you have me know today? And then God writes back her understanding of God, writes back to her and offers to take anything that's heavy, anything that is difficult or burdensome or anything like that, like not even to just help, but to handle it for you. So it's like, will you be like my trustee on my power? Can I like, you know, give you the key to that thing and you just give me the dose that I need in the moment that I need to use it. And other than that, like I'll just keep it locked safe away with God. You just hold on to that for me. Thanks. Appreciate it. I don't know. Maybe someday I could hold it all the time. But yeah, I feel like I have in the past, like been the one with the ring of power and it turned me into a giant a-hole. A violent one possibly. But yeah.
It's wise. It's wise. You know, there's different times where I'm like, you know, feeling called to help others, and I feel like an amoeba. Like I literally feel like an amoeba in the cosmos. I'm just like,
so little.
I love that visual with floating. An amoeba. An amorphous blob.
I need your guidance. Like I can't do this. I can't do this.
Yeah. Surrender. Like help me.
there's, like Source has just this giant overview. Like there's just an overview of time that we don't have and perspective that we don't have. So like asking for that is just so valuable.
That's something I've heard is like, I mean, of course, as humans, we have free will. And with free will, there's sort of this like non-interference clause, I guess, for, guides, God, however you want to look at it. Like, they're not going to intervene because we have free will. But we can use our free will to ask for help. And that's a really important thing to do. Like, if you need help, just ask for it. And Source is willing to help, but you have free will, so you have to use that free will to ask for help. And that's really all you need to do. And that'll help.
Because even in this whole power idea, like I've been working at it, trying to figure out how to get my power to like fit into this vessel because it just feels like it just isn't going to. And maybe that's because like I'm not supposed to hold it in the physical vessel. Like maybe really my power does exist more at a non-physical form. I don't know, at least right now. And then, yeah, like give me the little piece of it that I'm supposed to use in this moment versus like let me carry around like the full enchilada.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
It really is the golf caddy. Like, if you need the putter, here's the putter. Like,
Right.
I don't know what any of them are called. 9-iron, is that one of them? No idea.
Right.
But like,
No idea.
some of them are really heavy, and I'm just trying to picture a golfer like trying to swing the golf club while like having all of their
Holding
stuff.
it.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
can't. That's why you have a caddy who will hold
It
your
like all falls out, like the
yeah,
ball away. Yeah.
big mess.
That's what I've been doing. It's like I'm trying to carry my clubs and all my balls and all my supplies and my sweater for later and trying to still work at the same time while I'm like a mule, like packed down with all of this shit. This is feeling really good.
Well, it does feel really good.
It does.
I think that's what like good friendships and connections can do for us too, is like, it's not that we ask our friends to hold these heavy things for us, but sometimes it's like, can you hold it for a minute so that I can just like see it, hold it up for me to see it.
Totally.
You can give it back to me and then I'll figure it out. It's like, that's what I think like strong connections can do for us too, is like, can you just hold this weight for me just for a minute and help me to see it in a new light? And then when you take it back, you can give it to Source or whatever you need to do. But I think that's one of the beautiful things about friendship too.
Agree. Yeah. We're walking to school and we have like books and like coats and stuff. We're like, my shoe's untied. Can you hold it for a second?
Exactly. Exactly. Letting yourself be helped and supported. Like allowing that for yourself. I know for me, like I've told the story a lot that like I don't have support or whatever, like it's not coming in. And even to think about it like that is kind of missing the point of like either you're allowing it to come in or you're not. Like, because it's coming in from Source, from your higher self, like all the time. So to feel unsupported, it's like there's something pinched off inside of me that, yeah, I was like looking for it in the world, like trying to get it from looking for love in all the wrong places kind of thing. Which again, like I feel like you kind of got to exhaust some of those searches before you finally give up, like, okay, fine, show me where it is. Well, it's been inside you the whole time. So kudos on all your efforts with your search. Glad you're finally here.
Yeah.
Welcome. You're right on time.
Yes.
Nothing lost. All everything was gained.
Yeah.
Lessons gained. And,
Yeah.
you know, uh, use of energy, where we want to put our energy. I mean, you two are an answer. I don't know if it's prayer, but like there was a time that I was sitting at home, like, I mean, I've gone through different types of relationships in different settings. And I was just like, I really want soul sisters. Like, I really want soul sisters. And I asked for that, and I was just like, it's probably not going to come. Like, there was times where I was just like, it'll probably come in a tiny space or a tiny bit, and then like, not be everything. But I was proved wrong.
Good. That's awesome. I feel the same. Like that when I really like kind of opened up to the relationship with myself and like providing a safe space for myself, it led me more and more and more and more and more into wanting to host events where other people could come. Like let's all be friends in this heart-centered space. And yeah, I was like so ready for that. And I'm glad that, well, I'm like, obviously, or maybe I should ask, like, do you think like you must have believed it enough to get here, even if there is still a little bit of resistance, like in the equation of like, maybe it won't last, or maybe it'll, be short or small or like whatever, like it still came. So again, it's like, how powerful are our thoughts? I think it just depends on what's already going to unfold, because like you had the resistant thoughts, but it still unfolded. And then in Maddie's example, like she had the thought, and then the guy called 30 minutes later, and it's like, yes, you're powerful, but what exactly about that is powerful? Like, did you say it and ding his line and he called because of that? Or did he decide in his mind that he was going to call and he dinged your line or Jeff's line? And that's what you picked up on. Like, I don't know because I don't, for myself, like I've been in and don't want to get back into a place where I'm like guarding my thoughts because they're powerful and like I don't want to manifest shit I didn't mean to. Again, going back to like I accidentally pressed the detonate button or something. So yeah, it's just like maybe the powerful thing was like your intuition dropping in, like that guy, he's here somewhere, he's getting close energetically, like just even getting to pick up on that and then watching it manifest, like a powerful reflection of your own intuition versus even like your manifesting power, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes so much sense. I'm really glad you said that too. And I don't remember if this is an Abraham thing or if this is just like manifestation in general, but they say like it's already yours. That's the only reason you even want it in the first place, and that it popped into your head as a thought is because it's already yours. And I think like with that situation, I'm glad that you flipped it the other way around, and maybe it's even a little bit of both, like things are always never black and white. And it makes me wonder, like, yeah, maybe my intuition picked up on he was already gonna call. That was already a thing that was gonna happen. Yeah, maybe he pinged my line.
Or Jeff, like in the car with Jeff.
Uh-huh.
That you were driving.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like the empath thing and like what's mine and what's not mine. And like that guy gonna call Jeff, like ping Jeff's line, and then your empath thing picked up Jeff's ping. I don't even know.
Very
that's
possible.
Extra complicated.
Yeah, that's so possible.
I wonder, like that manifestation showing you're tuned into the timeline.
Yeah.
Outside of time. I think is more what happened than like I said it and then he called, like you saw the future, like you felt the future more than created the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is.
No, that's a good way to think about it. And I really like, I think what you kind of brought up, this is something that I've I don't know, had to sit with is like, if my thoughts and my words are so powerful, then that's like a little scary because, you know, sometimes our thoughts are not exactly things we want to be happening in real life. And if you've ever struggled with like intrusive thoughts, sometimes it's like some real catastrophic disaster thinking that just pops into your head, and it's this worst case scenario and it's horrible, and it's like, of course I don't actually want this, but it just popped into my head, and does that mean I'm going to create? Like, that's really scary. And so I think it is helpful to like kind of flip the situation and look at it more on the other side of like, yeah, the things that are meant to happen are already going to happen, and you will likely intuitively pick up on it
Yeah.
before, because it's already going to happen and time isn't real. So it's like your higher self knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That's such a good point. It's like it's already here. It's already like around us, and we're like, oh, I picked that up. And even I was just thinking about you, Carly, with the change of whatever in the group. It's like, what if you're picking up on a change that they need?
That's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's
Uh-huh.
what I'm trying to tell myself is like,
That's
this
good.
is
What if
me.
it's already there and it's like already a need?
Yeah. Or even if they don't even know that they need it yet, but by the time we get to Sunday, they
Yeah.
don't need Myers-Briggs, they need this. Like when I'm
Yeah.
feeling into that Sunday session and I'm trying to make it be about Myers-Briggs, like it just isn't, it's just not about that. So
Yeah.
like, like, yeah. But I think you're right. I think it's like answering a question that's like in the air kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, yeah, that's such a good point too, Maddie, about the like giving context to our manifestation and our thoughts becoming things and words becoming things. Because we are in, it's not just us alone. We're always in relationship, you know, with whoever and whatever energies are around us, and we're working within them too. That's why it can be kind of like, seems like that's why it can be like, is this my energy? Is this your energy? That's why it's kind of like difficult to like sort through that too, because they are happening at the same time. It's like, is that your thought or was this mine? Well, I kind of like the thought, so I'm going to go on with it, you know, or like,
Yeah.
I mean, we have like skin, we have bodies, so like that's a boundary. And then we have what are the bodies that are around our bodies, those have boundaries. But then what if we're like vibrating at a specific frequency in our bodies within ourselves that's matching up with other frequencies? And it's not necessarily the words that are manifesting. It's like putting it a little bit into context to say that it's going with a frequency as opposed to just the words or just our own power. You know, our own power is going to match with other people's power and what they've been working on. Like frequency will match with frequency as opposed to building from scratch. I don't know, does that make sense? Am I just blabbing?
No, well, because like to put it back into the program change example, maybe that's what's calling me, I think is what you were saying of like, that's where they are and that's where their frequency is. And here I am praying to my God, please help me be of service. And they're like, here, go over here. And I'm like, no, but my plan is this. And they're like, what did you just ask me? What did you just say? I want to be of service. Then go over there. Okay, I'll go. Oh, I promise I'll go. Yeah. It's like that. It's like you got the answer you asked for, and then you immediately were like, no, but you're precious. You precious little girl. You're just so little, like a baby. Baby. Uh, yeah. Mm. It feels good.
Mhm.
Feels very like 10 of Pentacles, like in the Light Seers book. She describes the 10 of Pentacles as like basically there's a legacy of pentacles that is already yours. And the only thing that is keeping you from it is like you claiming it or not. And you can have it whenever you want. It's already yours. It's already done. It's in the vortex, like whatever else. It's already yours. And claiming it, like for me in this instance, like practically speaking, I think what that looks like is like, don't question your intuition. Get the download and freaking go with it. Like, don't do the back and forth. The back and forth is the part I think where I'm giving up my power. If I received the download and was like, that's my intuition, I know that that's what it is. And I knew what it was, and I still went back and forth on like, am I going to follow it or am I going to do this? Like, I still did that process. And I think claiming my power would be to download the intuition and go in that direction unquestioningly. But it's a work in progress, you know? But it is right there. It is like, it's so inside of us to claim it, I think. And especially like coming up on this Aquarius full moon. I mean, who we truly are, who we were born to be, like the seed of potential of all that we came here to be is inside of us the whole time, all of it. And to your point, like we're never off our path. Like you're right on time. All of us are exactly where we meant to be right now.
This really reminds me a lot of like your Pisces North Node and, learning to lean into that flow. And that's our North Node, South Node journey it's lifelong. Like it's a practice and it's about making a choice every time there is that option. Am I going to choose, like with Virgo Pisces, like, am I going to choose to go with the flow or am I going to choose to stick with the plan? And like to your point too, that North Node piece is inside of us the whole time. It's never like a matter of finding it out in the world somewhere. Like it's in there the whole time. It's just a matter of us like blowing on the ember and, making that, letting that spark basically, which takes effort and time. And it is like such a lifelong journey. I feel like it takes time and practice. I think that's probably the point.
Yeah. Little by little, by little, by little, by little. That's okay. All we can do. To your point, I wouldn't want it to be all the way there. Like when I consider that, like, oh, you could just be done. You could just be fully healed. I'm like instantly like bored just even thinking about that. Like, but how would I keep myself entertained? What would I cry about? I don't know.
The song, the Kundalini mantra, the Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Should I do that?
Sure.
Should I do that? Okay. I'll do it 3 times. And then we can probably say what it means in the Sanskrit, but I think vibrationally it feels good for our frequency right now. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo.
That was so nice.
Thank you.
It'd feel good for our frequency where we are right now.
Mhm.
Especially the part where you went up with it. I was like,
Mhm.
It's an expansion.
it did.
Mm.
Ah, music medicine for the soul.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Thank you.
We want to sleep here.
Yeah. I'm like, can we just sit in here now and just like be in the peaceful soup for an extra minute? Yeah, totally. I just love it in here. I love it in our group chat. I love it in here.
Mhm. Me too.
It really is like, I mean, this is like a whole nother thing, but Maddie and I were talking about it the other day about like loving something so much that you're afraid of losing it. And as scary as it is to think about losing it, what a blessing it is to like love something that much. And that's how I feel about this space.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, while practicing non-attachment, I still hope this never ends. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, stay right here. No, I'm just joking.
Love every moment of it in the present while we're here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Soak it up
Soak it
and
up.
treasure it, literally. It is a treasure.
It is.
Sending you both so much love for the rest of your day,
You too.
week, and the full moon celebration Thursday.
Excited.
So excited.
Yeah. Feels like kind of a heavy one, but in a good way. Like
Yeah.
we're going to be light, like the orange thing at the end. What was it called?
Amber.
Amber. Yep, there it is.
It's like it just feels like the empty cup will be filled with this type of structure that's we're just not aware of yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what it feels like to me.
Empty.
That matches something that I heard in one of those Elizabeth Gilbert interviews this morning where she said like so many people are unwilling to make a change because they don't know what's coming next. And she said every single journey starts with not this. Like you have to know like I'm not this person. Like I may not know what else is coming, but I know I can't be in this abusive relationship, or I can't stay at this dead end job, or I can't keep carrying these heavy self expectations that I've been carrying for so long. Not this. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not this. And so, yeah, I feel like I let go of a lot this morning. And I love that idea of like all that empty space, like fill it back up with divine light and codes and help and support, all the good things. Yeah. Because why not? I could do that. Maybe. Definitely try. I could at least ask, God put something in there.
Well, it's our according to this, it's our DNA that's popping open. Boom, 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 boom. It's not our mind. It's our DNA. It's like, oh, I recognize.
Because like when he's writing in the Gene Keys books, he's like, when you just engage with the gift frequency of like any of your gene keys, the city like just spontaneously will like pop out. And you don't have to do the city, you just have to do the gift part and keep doing that. And it'll eventually like open up something else. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mm.
I just recently got a copy of the Gene Keys book, which I was so excited about. So now it's perfect timing.
You're ready.
Along with my book. Yeah, I'm ready.
Dive right in.
Dive deeper. Yeah, I'm super fascinated by it, but yeah, there is so much to unpack with it that it can be a little overwhelming at first, but it's just, I mean, every little tiny nugget I feel like for me has been really eye-opening and helpful.
Yeah.
Every little piece. Yeah.
Well, and like I messed with it several months ago back when I bought all those books, the three and then the big one. And I read through the activation sequence book and the Venus sequence. I think I got almost to the end. I was like a couple spheres away from like finishing the Venus sequence. And then I just like went off in some other direction and would look at those books and be like, see, look, there's another thing you never finished, and like hard on myself. And yesterday, coming back to the vocation bubble yesterday and like never having read the 54th gene key, never having read like the vocation description, like absorbing all of that yesterday was like so supremely powerful that it like once again like reminded me like nothing ever is unfinished, nothing ever is like anything other than where exactly it's supposed to be. So yeah, felt really good to know that you pick that back up exactly at the right moment. Like yesterday, like watching Aaron Brockovich plus my Gene Keys vocation, I was like having a whole spiritual experience over there. It was crazy.
Sounds incredible.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And then this morning, like giving all these things to God, I'm like, I hadn't thought maybe they're connected. Yeah, I was reading like my vocation yesterday and like filling up with this divine light. And then today it's like, this thing is heavy and in the way, and this thing is heavy and in the way, and this thing is heavy and in the way, and like get it out of here.
Yeah.
Room for all that. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
More of that, please.
We can't take up more space without removing the old. It's like debris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like cleaning out the filter. But can go again.
And he says in the book I just reread today that like it's not a linear book that you pick up and read. He's like, you can, but it's literally speaking directly to your genes, to your DNA, which is so wild. And it's really like what we need practice in. Non-linear thinking and really just receiving. And I'll say this really quick. He said this in the book. Purpose is threefold and it knits together. It knits together physical health, the ability to love and be loved, and our actual working life. So purpose is those three things. And when we are prospering in all of these three aspects, that's when our life is in harmony.
So true. So good. Yeah.
Oh. And that just makes logical sense, like from what I've experienced with like pushing so hard on my work path to where my health is out of balance, or like abandoning work to only focus on health, and then I feel like I'm missing something over here. Like,
and you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Health.
Yeah. And then to love and be loved. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to receive and give. Like I feel like that's what we're practicing, the three of us too, together. We're like practicing that relationship piece.
Yeah. Like cleaning some cobwebs out of the Venus sequence is kind of what it feels like. Like any of those that are kind of still in their shadow frequency, like let's just like bump those up a little bit.
Yeah, and he says that part of relationship is to have open our hearts and to gently show each other the shadow, just to bring it out into the light. That's it.
Yeah.
And that it can only be done in relationship.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
So true. You know?
Yeah.
Can't see your own blind spot. That's the whole point of a blind spot.
And he has like chapters in grace. How it needs all to be embedded in grace. And like Maddie, you bring up grace every time.
Every time.
She loves it. It's her fave. Well, and we're both the 3 line. Well, you are too in the design side, the 3 in the unconscious. Like, I feel like we need each other. We need other people who are like, oh yeah, me too. Like, I'm all over the place, experimenting, going this way, going that way, trying all this and this and this. Like, yeah, it's. Oh, I just threw 3 cups. Yeah.
Oh.
Like, if they don't have the 3 line in their unconscious, like, they really don't understand the need to just continuously get back in the cocoon and come out again and get back in the cocoon and come out again and get like my mom, like, it's just she was so perplexed by me. She's like, I've been the same person since I was 12 years old and you're 20 and having like 5 midlife crises already. And I'm like, I don't know. That's just how my energy works. It transforms over and over and over and over. And a 6, until you're 30, acts like a line 3. So a 6-3, like what I am, is really a 3-3 for the first 3 decades. So you're like in experimentation mode, hardcore. But yeah, I'm out of that now, which is nice. It's a little more settled.
I learned something about dragonflies that the more they molt, like the more they molt before they go into their cocoon and become, like the dragonfly, the more like large and vibrant and like strong they come out in the end. So like the more they're able to shed their skins, like the most amount of times is the best.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dude, that, oh, maybe don't cut that part off because I really need it from the recording. So write that down. Because yeah, that's what it feels like. Like, yeah.
Did you know that the dragonfly is his symbol?
That is so
I've
cool.
been having like crazy dragonfly synchronicities. So wow. Dragonflies represent transformation. Yeah, and they spend the first part of their lives waterbound, so it's very symbolic of like getting really familiar with your emotions and your emotional depth. And then from that place they go into their cocoon and everything and they become flying creatures. But they're still able to navigate both air and water. That's pretty cool.
Gosh, and what I've been saying about feeling like my spirit is like taking flight, like lightening up and like able to fly because I'm not heavy anymore. And so, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The dragonfly.
It does.
That's a beautiful thing.
I didn't know any of that about dragonflies.
The more you know. Yeah. They're magical creatures. I've just been seeing them everywhere, and I'm always so mesmerized by them because I just think they're so beautiful. I love dragonflies.
Yeah, the wings.
Yeah. Oh, they just like glisten in the sunlight. Oh, they're so beautiful.
Pretty. And they just dip around. They're just like, hey.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
That's what I want.
I don't want to keep you any longer than you, but I was curious, Carly, if you like if part of what you can remind yourself, like as far as like when you're the first part of your life and then now, and like that that you've been spending so much time in emotions and water and that you're flying with it, like to know like, hey, I'm gonna feel a little lighter. And then part of you might be like, oh, the program or the structure makes me feel heavier like I'm used to in water.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, that's just my new form.
Yeah. Like, I think that's where the stage I'm at now is like getting comfortable being light. Like, even though heavy sounds burdensome, like if you're used to it, it's probably still more comfortable, even though it's heavy and burdensome. So getting used to like being light and not burdened, like, yeah, letting that be my normal state. That's exciting to think about.
Yeah. If that's where you're supposed to be, for sure, it seems like it.
Right.
So it does feel like that's what like you were talking about, and like even Maddie bringing up the dragonfly. Yeah, and last night I was thinking of you, Carly, and it was just like, how you've been listening to the Atlas of Emotions? Well, the Greek god, do you know the Greek god of Atlas?
No.
I like looked it up, and it's a statue of a person holding an atlas like this, and it's like crushing the on the weight. It's like going like this, and I was like, and the atlas is Zeus had positioned him to hold all of heaven's emotions, so he had to stay like this for a long time. And I was just like looking at like the shoulders, and I'm like, that looks like a lot of weight to carry. And I'm like, seems like you're ready to like let it go.
Oh man. Yeah, sometimes it feels like I'm carrying heaven's emotions, like the whole world's emotions. Yeah. And like to just give it back to God to carry their own emotions, you know? And to that point of like the amber and what's going to be encased in your being as you move forward. And what just came was the card that I think those were the ones that you drew that had the diamonds on them. That it was my card was the tear.
Yeah.
Like what's encased inside my amber, my lightness going forward is like one single tear to like remind me of where I came from and probably like the suffering that other people do still carry. Not everybody's flying around like light as a bird, you know. Some people are not choosing that yet, and to respect their sovereignty, but still have compassion for, I know what that's like, you know,
Yeah.
to be still in the ocean of emotion, like stuck there. So yeah, it's like take the ocean with me, just one little drop, and put that in the center of this little light being, and off and away I go. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, tying it all together.
Yeah.
It does feel significant, like something is opening and moving to, like, I don't even want to say like the next level. It doesn't feel like that. Like, it doesn't feel linear like that. It feels like just a general reconfiguration of what was and what will be going forward.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Same. Same. It's inside. It's inside. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel scary. It doesn't feel scary, but I feel like a couple times I heard God say, like, I need you to be strong enough. I need you to be strong enough in your own energy to where you can be in the middle of a giant crowd of energies and still like hold it down.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got that message too? You feel that?
I just feel that a lot. Like when you said that, I was like, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I am the storm. You reminded me of that. I am the storm.
Right.
Yeah. Grounding in general. Like to the point of, I don't know why. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what the future is or what the different is or what any of that is. But like to your point, Maddie, of like when you were feeling like the intense anxiety, like the worst it's ever been or the most it's ever been. And it's like, I don't know what the answer is, but I need something to like feel better right now. And that came like whenever that was, Friday morning or whatever, where I like went outside and shot it into the planet. It was like, that was intense. That was real intense.
You can give it to God or your guides or also to the earth. I feel like that's a good reminder of like earthing and the way you just literally put your bare feet on the grass and you could feel that energy be reabsorbed, be transmuted back to its original source. And then like, thank you for this energy. You can have it back. May you, I don't know, send it to someone else who needs it.
Yeah, someone who needs to feel more flighty.
Yeah.
Or more airy.
Yeah. Or is stuck inside their little shell. Because,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like I was like literally floating around my yard, except I had my feet on the ground. But I mean, yeah, I was like, this is too much. This is too much. And it felt good. It felt like love and excitement and purpose and just fire, but too much.
Yeah.
In my circuits.
Our body, they have to upgrade for it. That's why I was like so obsessed with the gene keys, I think, because I think our DNA has to upgrade in order to absorb the higher frequencies.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, was like I unlocked some energy into my being, that my being at the same time was like not really prepared to like flow that energy or contain it, I guess. I was ready to flow it because I did, but I definitely was not able to hold it. It was way too powerful of a flow to think that I was just going to like sit still and like hold this energy. Fuck that. Like I couldn't get outside fast enough. Like, oh my God, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
It's too much. It wasn't. It was great. But it was like one of those moments where it's like ground or explode. It was an extreme situation where I was very impressed with myself and like kind of like, wow, like look at truly when I do, like I come into a situation where I am feeling overpowered by my own energy. I mean, my instinct kicked in and was like, go outside. Like you'll be able to breathe better outside than inside. And so I go outside and then like I look under the deck and Dolly's like down below. I'm like, hey, there, she calms me down. I'll go down there and see her. And so I like go with my bare feet like out into the grass, and it like just even walking on the grass, I was like, okay, forget Dolly for a second. And I just like start taking loops around the grass, and it was all dewy, so my feet were all wet. Oh gosh, yeah, it felt like one of those I don't know what they're called, but like it's like a long plastic thing and it's got waves in it. You ever seen this where it's like it rushes all to this end and then like it kind of like flips back this way and it like rushes all back to this end? And that's what it felt like swirling inside of me. And then I touched my feet onto the planet, and it was like all of a sudden we were together. And in our togetherness, I was big enough. Like it was like this balance of like anything that was too big for me got left in the planet, and everything that could fit in me was still there. And like it just like totally like just calmed me right down, and it felt like the natural, like when it's all over here it'll tip it back this way and like it'll all run the other way, and like it was just so natural that if you'll just like literally go put your feet on the planet, I mean, it'll balance your energy, I think. Like if I'm sure there's some mental part where you have to like be open to that, like want that to happen, you know? But yeah, then I hooked up with like this little butterfly and he walked me around the yard. I followed him. I was like not really paying attention to where I was going. I was just like following the butterfly, and then he stopped. So I got down there and I like studied his wings well enough that I drew them from memory later because they were so pretty. They had such little like intricate designs on them. He was just little. And so yeah, it just like really was just like in the moment. Like just yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so natural. Like just go outside. Go outside. You'll feel better. Yeah, I forget that a lot.
Yeah. Can it be that simple? Oh yeah, it can.
Oh yeah.
That reminder is good.
Well, I think it's like, how simple do you want it to be or not want it to be? Because like we started at the beginning, like if you're identifying with the struggle, you're like hanging on to that struggle for dear life. You don't want the planet to take away your struggle. And I was like, I don't need it. You can have it. I'm good.
I'm filled up. I'm filled up.
Well, and it was like beyond the point of even having to decide. Like I can't breathe. I cannot physically breathe. So you've got to take some of this energy. It's too much for me. And so, yeah, I mean, it just was kind of natural, kicked in. But when it's bearable, it's almost like a harder situation because you could just sit there and bear it.
Yeah.
Versus like if you can't breathe, I mean, you're going to have to fix it. You're going to have to like get some help with that. And yeah. I was glad that it was that intense because, yeah, it drove me to have to do something about it, have to ground this energy somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, your instincts kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
And it does make so much sense. Like if you're used to being the water nymph before the dragonfly goes to flight, and then like you're flying now.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah. So as you said that, I flipped this over and it's the death and rebirth card. Because yeah, Like I think I am like moving between like who I used to be and who I'm going to be going forward. And yeah, it's not scary at all, but there's definitely like a whole different version of Carly that is like shivering out of her skin over here, or like fighting her way out of the cocoon or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just different. It's not bad, it's just different. And it feels like a new like vehicle or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a new vantage point, you know? Yeah. Like I used to live on the south side of town. Now I'm going to live on the north side of town.
Check it out.
It's just different. You just see it from a different angle. That's all.
Hmm.
Maybe. Awfully neurotic. We all know that. It's fine. It's fine.
We all do. We all do.
Working on it.